Hey guys, welcome back to the DCDS YouTube channel. It's great to see you all again. So we've just finished up with a really awesome day's worth of virtual drumming experiences. It's been a really lively one. It's been so much fun. And what I thought I'd do now, just while I've got the setup still out, is I'd bring the next part for the really useful drum rhythm package to you guys. Something I've been really trying to do for about a week or so now, maybe 2 weeks, and it's been just full on. I haven't had the time to fit it in. So I'm going to do that with you guys now. So if you guys haven't seen part 1 to this yet, a really useful drum rhythm package part 1, you might want to just check that out before you do this part, just so you kind of know what it is I'm actually waffling on about. But it's going to be a really fun one. It's just going to kind of be like the next step up from what we were doing, where we're going to check out how we can kind of improvise around the rhythms that we learnt in part 1. So what we're going to do, first off, I'm going to shoot off over to the setup. We're going to use buckets and pans today again, just so that anybody can get involved. You don't have to have like a great big massive awesome drum kit. You can just use items knocking around your house. So I'm going to use that, and then if you want to, you can always transfer that across to a drum kit if you have one. So let me move over here and I'll show you guys what we're going to check out. Let's go. So you can see everything down there. Let's just move it closer down. Where's it gone? There you are. Okay. So we're going to start off with the first rhythm that we learnt in part 1. Now what we did was a very simple rhythm. We were using our pan, one of our buckets, and our feet. Okay, and all we did was we just hit the pan and stamped our foot down at the same time. Okay, so we just kind of went like boom, like that. And then what we did is we hit our pan and our bucket together next. Okay, and we just did that round and round. So we went pan and foot, bucket and pan, pan and foot, bucket and pan, like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to step up that rhythm. Like I said, we're going to improvise around this rhythm today. All we're going to do is we're going to put an extra stamp with our foot, sometimes in between the hit on the two hits that we've just done. Okay, so let's start off just with what we were doing. So okay, now I'm going to put an extra stamp on my foot in between, like this. Now just remember, when we're doing it, when we're doing the hits on the pan, so foot and pan, bucket and pan, foot and pan, bucket and pan, that must stay the same speed. Once you've set the speed, you cannot speed up, you cannot slow down. You must keep that speed, okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to count it as we go. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all we're going to do, like I say, we're going to put that extra foot in between. Now, because we have to keep those hits the same speed, we have to try and squeeze that extra foot in before we get to the next hit, okay? So it's going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 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 okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the two rhythms and mix them up, okay? So the first one we've got is without the extra foot in between, so it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the one with the foot in between, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So what we're going to go for here is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So remember, the and is represented by that extra foot in between, okay? So we're going 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay? So that's all I'm doing. I'm just keeping that that rhythm going. That. Okay, I'm just doing that round and round, and then sometimes doing an extra stamp in between. Okay? So now what we're going to do, let me put the camera back up, there we go. So that's for the first rhythm. Now then, for the second one, if you guys have seen part 1, you'll know that we started putting an extra pan in between. So all we're going to do here, I'm going to show you guys the original rhythm that we did in part 1, and then show you guys how we can play around and improvise around that, okay? So let me just put the camera back down so you can see. There we go. Okay, so the original rhythm that we did went like this. Okay, so it's still like the first rhythm that we did, except with an extra pan in between each of the hits, okay, like this. So we went foot and pan, pan, bucket and pan, pan, foot and pan, pan, bucket and pan, pan, yeah? Now what I want you to do is imagine that those pans, when each time you hit the pan on its own, I want you to think of that as like an empty space, okay? An empty space that if you want to, you can add something to at the same time, okay? So what we're going to do this time is, like we've got our foot at the same time as the first pan, now instead of doing the pan on its own, we're also going to do another foot at the same time as the second pan, okay? So instead of going like this, okay, this time we're going to go, okay, like this. I messed that up, hang on. Okay, so we're stamping on the first pan and on the second pan, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same again, but we're going to bounce between the two versions, okay? So the first time round we're only going to stamp on the first pan. The second time round we're going to do it on the first and the second pan, okay? So just on the first pan first, like this. And then on the first and the second pan. Messed it up. Let's try that again. So on the first and the second pan. Okay? So now we're going to just bounce between the two, okay? So like this. Okay? So that's all I'm doing. I'm just taking that that pan that we've got on its own and just sometimes adding an extra stamp on my foot at the same time as it, just to kind of change up the rhythm a little bit. Again, you've got another pan on its own on the fourth hit, so if you wanted to, you could do an extra hit on there. You could maybe do your foot again, or if you wanted to, you could do another bucket at the same time as that, so that would go like this. So pan and foot, pan, bucket and pan, bucket and pan. Okay, so like this. Okay, so that's all we're doing. We're just taking that original rhythm and then any extra pans that we've got on their own, sometimes we just add something to it just to kind of shake things up a bit, okay? So, let me just move back over here again. So that's what we've got so far. Now, what we're going to do now, just like in the first rhythm, how I put an extra foot in between the bucket, in between the foot and the pan and the bucket and the pan, and I did that extra stamp in between. Now we're going to look at how we can apply that into the rhythm that we've just done as well, with the extra hi-hats, okay? So, just come back over here with me again a second while I show you. Here we go. Oops. There we go. So what we're going to do, I'm going to, I think I'll do a stamp with my foot on the first one, just like normal. I'm going to do another stamp on my foot on the second one, just because it's a pan on its own, and we can add something to it if we want. And then I'm going to do another stamp with my foot in between that second and third hit, okay? So without the extra stamp in between, it's going to go like this, like we did before. Okay, and then with the extra stamp in between the second and third pans, it's going to go like this. Yeah, so it goes boom, 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 boom. Okay, So that's all I'm doing, guys. Let me come back over here. I'm just taking the original rhythms that we learnt in part 1, sometimes squeezing an extra hit in between the notes of the original rhythms, and sometimes if there's like just one thing that's on its own in the rhythm that you hit on its own, sometimes I'm adding an extra thing to it just to kind of change the sound a little bit, okay? So I hope you found that tutorial a little bit helpful. If you have any questions, as always, you can ask me down in the comments. If you have like any requests or anything like that, this is, like I say, this is going to become like a little series of videos that I'm going to do. As we kind of progress along it, we can start throwing in a couple of cool little drum rolls and things like that as well. But like I say, if you do have any questions or requests, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to do those for you guys. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun couple of days of videos because I've got a few cool things lined up for you guys now. So I really hope you've enjoyed that. Remember to leave your likes, like I say, comment, subscribe, invite your friends and family to subscribe, because guys, we have now got past 400 subscribers. How awesome is that? That is like so cool. So we're past 400 subscribers, and I think we're like 405 now, which is really awesome. I'm really pleased with that. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, remember to keep on spreading the word. There might be people out there that are learning an instrument, that maybe got an instrument for Christmas and are struggling to learn it. These tutorials are designed to be like really easy to follow and to help people out that are struggling, so please feel free to spread the word to those people. And again, we have other things on here, you know, gaming videos, dares, challenges, vlogs, so please feel free to keep up. That would be really awesome. Thank you so much for dropping in, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one. Take care guys, all the best.